This is Danny Gould with the Gould team, selling Silicon Valley, back with your Silicon Valley snapshot for the first week of February. Guys, the story here is pretty much the same as it's been over the last couple of weeks. Not much has changed, and the reality is that what I've said over the last couple of weeks with the inventory being higher than normal and the activity level being healthy, but definitely not absorbing all that increased inventory, right? It's feast or famine, right? For a lot of listings, they're either going to go super quickly or they're going to stay on for a very long time. Here is the heat map for the first week here in February. Now if you look, it's February 4th, first week of February. Almost every single area here in Santa Clara County is up triple digits, right? 2 to 3x the normal active inventory or the active inventory from last year. Now, what I want to point out, and this is something that I wasn't planning on showing, but if you look at this number right here, right? This is the number of active single-family homes, 832, active condos, 412. Right now, last year, 386 and 96, right? So super low amounts, right? Compared to 574, 168 in 2016 and 567, 201 in 2017. So still, this is more the norm that we've experienced over the last 5 years. Last year, again, the anomaly. This year, higher than normal levels, right? So we're still higher, but I think a lot of those heat maps, when they say 2 to 3x, it's really not 2 to 3x. It's more like, 50% higher, right? 50%. So we definitely do have quite a lot of inventory on the market right now for this time of year. What does that mean, right? Now, let's look at pending listings too, because I think that tells some of the story as well. If you look at the pending heat map, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's very geographic. Notice that the middle here, right? Like the interior portions, the absorption rate's actually fairly high. I mean, look at that. I mean, look, there's a lot of listings that are selling in this neighborhood, right? Now, the exterior, not so much. Why is that though? Why is that? That, to me, this tells me a lot of things. Number one, I think that in 2 to 3 weeks, we will see the exact opposite. Okay? We're going to see most of this exterior in the black and most of this interior in the red. Why? Right? Why? Well, a lot of these areas, right? Sunnyvale, now Cupertino, I would assume that this would be black, right? But let's just pretend like that doesn't exist. But like a lot of these areas here, right? They're a little bit more desirable because of the commute, schools, etc., right? Now Cupertino and Evergreen have similar school districts, but you got to drive an extra 45 minutes to Google or an extra 30 minutes to Apple, right? If you're lucky, right? As opposed to living right here, right? So what's happened over the last couple of years is that every couple of weeks, we see a shift, a migration in pending listings from one side of the map to the other, right? And vice versa. Because eventually people get priced out or tired, or they're like, oh, it's too hot here, so I'm gonna go to this other area, right? And then this area gets saturated, and they're like, wait, pending listings and demand is down over here, let's go back, right? So that is a very dumbed down version of what actually happens, but it is in essence what happens here in Silicon Valley. And so I think you're gonna continue to see more of the same, right? What is that? Well, right now, active inventory is up about 50% of the usual, right? So there's more houses for sale, right? With more to choose from means buyers have options, and it means things are gonna take longer to sell on average, right? The best homes are still gonna get multiple offers. I mean, I just sold 3 listings in the last 10 days. All 3 of them, multiple offers. All 3 of them, 2 of the 3 of them, record-breaking prices. That's right, higher than the highest sale from last year in the March, April, May timeframe. So there are buyers out there. There are buyers that are still willing to pay the highest possible price, but it has to be worth it for them, right? Those houses were great houses. They showed beautifully. They were in great areas, right? They checked all the boxes, right? So I think as we continue to move forward, this idea that I've been talking about, feast or famine, right? You're either going to have a really hot home and it's going to go quickly, or it's going to sit for a long time. That's going to continue. That trend is going to be exacerbated as we move into the spring months, because my thought is this. I don't see, the market's more frothy right now and more active than I've seen it in a while, right? And I don't think that activity is necessarily going to pick up into the spring months. I think it's going to sustain itself, right? But the reality is that if that activity level, that demand sustains itself and inventory continues to rise as it typically does in the spring months, what does that do to prices, and what does that do to the overall demand in the market, right? It's going to go down, right? Prices, I mean, I don't know if they're going to go down necessarily, right? But I do think that we're going to continue to see, that squeeze in the market, right? And that pressure on sellers. I think it's going to become exacerbated as the inventory levels rise over the next couple of months. And so when I sit with the seller, and if you are thinking about selling your home, and I'm talking to you right now, right? I highly encourage you to consider putting your home on the market in the next 30 to 45 days, as opposed to waiting for April, May, June, because I sincerely believe that the increased inventory in those late spring months is going to have an effect on your property's value, period. Right? And if you don't think so, great, don't listen to me. But, I mean, those are the numbers. The numbers don't lie, right? And yeah, the spring market's generally like really hot and everything, but I mean, you saw the numbers right now, right? Like, look at this. I just want to kind of show you what's going on here. I mean, if you look, 386 to 832. I don't know when we were at 832 listings, or if we were ever at 832 listings last year at any point in time, right? So the reality is that the absorption right now, if that trend continues into the spring months and it's absorbed at the same rate, but there's more inventory, I don't see that having a good effect on home prices and home values as we move into the later spring months. So just my 2 cents. Would love to hear your comments and all your questions as well. You know who it is, guys. It's Danny Gould with the Gould team, selling Silicon Valley. Catch you guys in the next video.